Yeah, I'm Donald Price. I've been attending the church since 1962, I think. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. The people, they've been so kind and helpful in my Christian life. And
I'm Patsy Price, and I've been attending the church same as he has. I taught Sunday school for 30 years at the Pleasant View Church. And I think one of my special memories was when we walked, the Sunday morning we walked from the old church up to the new church. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was such a nice thing.
There was over 200 people walked from there, from Sizemore Hall now, up to the new church. And it was a nice sight, I guess, because I had a lot to do with the
work
building of the new church as being trustee, head of the trustee board and the building committee. And it was really special to have that feeling, you know. I guess the first thing it was when we moved the old church up over that bank from down off of Route 405. And when I said to some people that I was with, I said, "Are you going to move that church without putting a crack in them brick?" He says, "Yes, sir. We would surely move that church without putting a crack in his brick." I said, "Okay." And I held my breath, I think, every time that church moved, because the church was plastered on the inside. And when they got it up, we set it back there where it's at now, there wasn't a crack. And we just got that size, the old church moved up, and we did it in 1972, right before the Agnes flood, where if we wouldn't have got it moved, it'd have been underwater down there on Route 405, where Shannon's is. The older people, they were very cost conscious. And when we went to, when we was building that church, and this one lady, she would say, "Well, how are we going to do that and afford that?" And she said, "My dear child, we'll have to look into this a little bit more." And every time she said, "My dear child," I laughed. I said, "I've come a long way in a short time. And you got me believing that Christ is always there to help us and see us through things. Our Lord Jesus Christ." And I said, "Where is that faith at now?" Well, for me, and I'll never forget the experience that I've had in that situation and in this church that I belong to.
It just seems like it's our second home, that church does, really.
The only thing I can say is I love the people. They have supported me through my last 2 or 3 years of sickness that I've had. And I appreciate every bit, the cards, the prayers. And there's nothing can replace that. And I thank you all for that.
Let people know who you are.
I'm Rachel Beachel.
And I am Pete Beachel, or Petey Beachel, as a lot of people that knew me from the church.
Okay. And when did you first start attending Pleasant View?
Petey was a year old. I would think it was about 68. I was the youngest mother on Mother's Day, and I got the flowers because I was the youngest mother. And today, I'm one of the older people.
Petey, you grew up in the church. You spent your whole life around the church.
Yep, ever since I was a year old.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, through the years, there's been, I was in the youth, and the youth was pretty good size when it was my time in the youth, and we did a lot of stuff. But I think going way back, one of the things that that I can remember going way back is when we built the new church. And that Sunday, we walked from the old church into the front doors of the new church. And I can still remember the people, the whole congregation going out the front door of Sites Mahal and walking up around and walking in the front. And that was always something looking back, something that was memorable to me.
I think we were singing a song, but I don't remember what we sang.
I think we were, but I don't remember what it was. Had a lot of good memories. I've been there all my life. I've grew up with a lot of people that were there, and so the church has been my second family. It's just, people come and people go in your life, but the ones that are there, I have a lot of ties with several people in the church. Some of the people that are there that are a little younger than me, I remember when they were born, and they're still there. So, a lot of good friends over the years.
And we used to have hay rides. When we were in the farm, that was way back, right after we were married. And we'd get on the truck, on a wagon, and Pete would take us on the roughest hill he could find, bouncing all over the place. And
He literally took us one year. We had one wagon one year, and the wagons that we had years ago was my grandfather's, and the one wagon literally had a PTO shaft on it that would hook to the tractor, and it had a pump on it, and literally it was a dump wagon. And we were all on the wagon. We only had one wagon there, and he literally lifted the thing, just dumped us all right out on the ground. So just up and then Mom and I was just talking the other day. I don't remember where we were coming back from, but years ago we went down to Halifax to the animal safari. And I mean, you wouldn't do this nowadays, but back then my dad had just bought a brand new 1976 Chevy dump truck, and it had about I think an 18-foot bed on the back, which the sides were about 4.5 to 5 feet high. And we put hay bales in there, and the church, a whole bunch of people from the church, probably about 20 to 30, rode on the back of that dump truck and went to Halifax. If we did that nowadays, yeah, you wouldn't get away with that. But that was another something else fun too.
Ruth Smith.
And how long have you been attending Pleasant?
We started going in January of 1979 because we had built our home and moved into the area.
And you shared with me who invited you?
Paul and Jeanette Beechel, Pete and Rachel's family, and mother and father-in-law and stuff. And we never went around and tried a lot of new churches. We went there and we loved it, and that's where we hung our hat. And it's been a good experience. I was raised in a Pilgrim Holiness Church, so there was a lot of the background that I could bring from my own background into the same church and things like that. But it has always been my home. And after my husband passed away, I still kept going. And I don't like to drive at night, so I don't drive at night and things like that. But that is my church. I love that church and the people.
Or any of that kind of sticks out? Something that someone said or did as a memory?
No, we always gave Pete and Rachel thankfulness that, that they were so good to us. Of course, we were neighbors, and we were good neighbors, and but they were special to us. And the Sheets, of course, they don't go anymore, but Don and Jim Sheets were good influence in things. There was an age group, more or less mine and George's age, with our children ages too, so that meant a lot to us as far as being part of the church.
Any other thoughts?
No, I just remember the day that they took us in as members. I cried. Mm-hmm.